Head coach Kim Rosamond, Tennessee Tech, joins us. Hey, coach, how are you?
I'm good, Bob. How are you?
Am I the last in your line of the tough media, or is this just the beginning for you? What's
This
the
is just the
rotation?
start. This is just the beginning.
All right. Well, I can hear him in the side room beside me with Kyle, so beware. I'll probably do some. I'll probably do some softballs and some good stuff. So, want to talk about just an incredible 3 or 4 days in the history of your university, the history of your employment, and let's go back to, let's say, the overnight hours of March 2nd of this year, and kind of go forward to that just gut wrenching loss in the OVC tournament. Kind of go forward to returning home to Cookeville. It's painful, I know, but it's so important for us to talk about that today, I think. So
Yeah.
kind of take me through that.
Yeah, our community obviously was rocked by a devastating tornado that ripped through, the outer parts of our community, and so many people lost so much. There were family members lost, friends lost, lives lost, on top of losing their homes and everything that they had worked and built for. So, it had been a tough month for our basketball team, just from a basketball standpoint of how we had finished the season. And so, our players really went to Evansville inspired and on a mission to play for our community and, our city and our town. And I was so proud of how our kids represented and played their guts out and their hearts out. And we worked so hard to bring that win home to them. And, we're up 2 points with, I believe it was 9.3 seconds left. And Taylor Pruitt hit a dagger of a 3-pointer from behind the timeline, actually, to send SEMO on, who eventually became the champion. So, that you started that week off just with the devastation, in our community, but you also got to see the strength and the love that the people have here. This is a very, very special place. And there was so much support and people lifting each other up. And I know, we had a lot of people that stepped up, from our leaders, from our community leaders to our mayor, to our president here at Tennessee Tech that really stepped up for our community. So you fast forward probably about a week, I think. I was actually sitting in the Murphy Center in Murfreesboro at the high school state tournament. And you start seeing that the cancellations of the tournaments due to COVID-19, and all of a sudden, postseason and everything ends. And so we were actually on spring break that week. And so, what started as our players being home on a short period turned into a 6-month separation for us. But, we stayed together. We learned a new way of doing things in Zoom. It was very, very uncomfortable. But it has been a challenging and unique, what are we into 8 or 9 months of this at this point? It's been challenging and unique, but we found ways to move forward. And, just really, I look at our community now and where it was, in those days after the tornado. And obviously our community has been hit hard by the pandemic. But this is a strong and special place with special people.
And that's what drew you to this job. Was Cookeville. It was a short trip from Nashville to Cookeville. Kind of, for those that don't know your story, kind of take us through that.
Well, I'm a Mississippi girl. I grew up in Mississippi and was fortunate enough to be able to stay home and play for a Hall of Fame coach in Van Chancellor. And then my senior year, played for Ron Aldi and coached for him at Ole Miss. For 5 years. I spent 5 years an assistant there, and then came to Middle Tennessee under Stephanie Smith, and was fortunate to be part of 2 championship teams there. And then that led me to Vanderbilt to work for Melanie Balcom for 9 years as an assistant coach in the SEC. And so Tennessee has now become home for me, and I've spent a lot of years here. I love this part of the country. Love the high school girls basketball that we have here and the outstanding coaches that we have. And, 4 years ago, we got the call to come to Tennessee Tech. And, we've worked really hard to try to build a championship culture here, which leads us into year 5. It's hard to believe, Bob, that we are now entering into year 5, but here we are.
There's a lot of tradition at Tennessee Tech, both the men's and women's side, and Bill Worrell, I know, that is quite around the program and for all those years having led the program, and now he's kind of nearby. Got a lot of assistant coaches in that community too.
No doubt. And, all you got to do is look out, from my window, and you see the purple championship banners that hang in Hooper Evelyn Center. And Coach Worrell hung a lot of those. And, he either won them as a head coach or was part of them as an assistant with Mary Nell Metters, who started this program. And I know Coach Worrell always pays homage to her, and just two legends of women's basketball that have really left their imprint here. And that is one of the many things that drew me to Tech was the tradition. And, not everywhere that you go that women's basketball is important, but it is here. It's not only important to our administration, but it's important to the fans. You're going to come in here on a Thursday or Saturday night, and, it's going to be just as many people here for the women's game as it is for the men. And they support both programs extremely well. And so it's an honor. It's an honor to be at a university with the tradition that we have in women's basketball like we do at Tennessee Tech.
If your last name begins with the letter B, you're a pretty good player on Kim Rosamond's basketball team coming up this season. So talk a little bit about Jordan Brock and Keisha Brady.
Well, they are part of this senior class that is so special in many, many ways. And both of those young women are catalysts for our program. This will be the first class that is now seniors that we recruited. This is the first class that we brought in. And it was a very, very good class that has left its imprint. Now they've been through the highs and the lows, from a freshman year of where we were one of the youngest teams in the country, and, only scratched out 7 wins, to their sophomore year having one of the biggest turnarounds in the country. And then last season did a lot of good things. This is the year that I know that they have built towards. And, you've got Keisha coming off an all-conference season as a junior, one of the most explosive guards in the league. Keisha does so many things for us, from not only being able to attack the rim and get to the free throw line. I was really proud of how she shot the 3 ball last year, but she's a phenomenal offensive rebounder. Then you've got Jordan Brock on the other wing, who, you can't sleep on her for a second. One of the best shooters, not only in the OVC, but also in the country. And, and Jordan's not just a shooter. She's able to get to the rim and do a lot of things. And I know she's really worked hard this season with her conditioning, just as Keisha's worked, this off season to come into their senior years and do something special. But, that's an entire class. We've got 3 of our top returning scorers back. You put Mackenzie Coleman in there as a post player, one of the best post players in our league, and really, really finished the season strong last year. You've got Abby Buckner, who is kind of the glue to our team, that does a little bit of everything and just such a strong leader. And then Megan Clark, who played so well down the stretch for us last year, one of the most versatile players on our team. So, this is a special class, and you are excited for the season for them, because this is what we've been working towards, to have a veteran basketball team like we do, with 5 seniors bought into this program like they are.
Your thoughts on this 20-game OVC schedule? Wow.
Hey, at this point, we're glad we have a schedule. we're glad that, we are going to be playing games, and we're just ready to play, I think, somebody other than ourselves. Bob, this league, I got here in 2016, and it has done nothing but continue to improve and get better each and every year. And, I said this going into last year, and it was about as balanced and as competitive as you've seen it. But I think this year will prove to be that much more competitive and balanced. And so it's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting and unique in a lot of ways, but it's also going to be exciting.
Yeah, that pretty much echoes what we've been hearing throughout today. So now some really hard-hitting questions. Who won the Halloween contest? It was quite the hit. The costume contest. It was quite the hit on Twitter. So
well, I think I don't know if you're talking about my dance moves or if you're talking about the actual costumes. I'll tell you what, the seniors. Okay, I talked about this special senior class that we have. They got creative and decided that they were, going to buy little costumes and wigs for everybody. And that they got everybody some really cool stuff. And then they brought mine was. It was gray hair with rollers in it. So, I learned really quickly that I am no longer the fun young assistant coach. I learned how they see their coach. And then I think probably I did not help my cause when I broke out the dance moves. But it was a fun day. So, we're trying to keep some fun in this season. There's a lot of stress, obviously daily. Around it, but it's hard not to be around this group and not smile and have a good time. So I'm having fun coaching them.
You touched on it briefly, but go ahead and size up this race. I mean, to your point, women's basketball in this league is just unbelievably steady in terms of its improvement. And that's not just one man's opinion. That's kind of the consensus. How to size this league up for me? You appear to be on the verge of breaking into that top 4, that top 3. There's so many variables in this 20-game season.
It really is, but I think obviously, there's so many teams I think you can start with, and I think we're going to be right there. I think UT Martin returns everybody on their roster, and they've got a very, very special player in Chelsea Perry. She is a kid that she was good as a freshman and sophomore, but wow, what she did, her junior season, she's a young woman that I think could play anywhere in this country. And she's a special talent. And then they've got such a core group surrounding her. They hit a lot of injuries last year towards the end of the season, but we're right there, in that championship fight. You've got SEMO, and what a great job Rika has done there, with her team, and just the toughness, that they'll return. All you have to say is Tecia Thompson, and what an outstanding player that she is. And Belmont is Belmont. They know how to win. They know what it takes. They've been there. And so, you can, I hate to start even naming teams, because EIU last year was one of the most improved teams in our league to finish in the top 4. And then, you've got Rick Petrie and Jacksonville. I mean, I can go down the list. It's just, I can talk about the job that Rochelle is doing at Murray State, and, the players that she's bringing back and the new players that she's bringing in. It's going to be as challenging and as competitive as it's ever been. And so I think all of our goal right now is just to get to Evansville, and to be there and to be able to compete, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Kim, it's been a pleasure. It's fun to talk in this environment. Media day, everybody's undefeated, so it's always fun. But I just sincerely have a lasting image of you walking off that floor in Evansville and how difficult that was. So thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. And we'll see you along the way.
Thank you, Bob. Look forward to it.